Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Spooky Swans podcast. I'm Josh,
I'm Jess.
and it was my pick this week. I spun the wheel, and it landed on Monster as the subcategory. And I was fighting myself a little to pick a movie.
Yeah, honestly, you texted me with like 5 or 6 different choices
Yeah.
of monster movies. And then I had even pulled up Google to Google monster movies, and there's just an insane amount of good monster movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that there's movie galore in any type of genre, but really, really good monster movies, there's just so many to choose from, and it's hard to narrow it down. And I just remember being like, "Oh, I'm not envious of you."
Well, no, because I was really leaning towards one of them, which I'll say it, I don't care. It's Frankenstein's Army, which is a really good movie. But I don't know. I was watching a bit of it, and I'm like, this is a dark movie. I mean, it has to do with Nazis and things like that. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go a little lighthearted. Still technically horror, but also comedy. So I went with Tremors.
We do love a good horror comedy, especially me. We do a lot of horror comedy, actually.
I mean, we're we're kind of fucked up to the point where every horror becomes comedy to some extent.
True.
So, but I mean, this one I've seen this movie a million times, and it's another one of those movies where you came home one day and I was just kind of watching it, and you'd like sat down and got glued to the TV.
Yeah, so I only saw a little bit of it, but I actually never watched this film. And it's funny because it's considered a cult classic.
Yes, it is. There's 7 of them.
Yeah. And he even said, yeah, there's multiple of them. And I was like, there's more than one?
Mm-hmm. They get more and more ridiculous, and you know,
Have you watched them all?
no,
No.
I stick to the first one because it's it's a cult classic. It's iconic. It's got Reba McEntire, for Christ's sake. I mean, it's just a fun movie.
She's in the second one, I believe.
Is she?
I believe so. I think I saw something part of the second one.
Oh, shiz.
Said something about her leaving her man because he got obsessed.
Oh, that would make sense. Because he does get obsessed in the first one. He starts to.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you know,
Did you watch the second one at least?
no.
No. Okay.
I've only seen the first one. I plan to watch all of them.
Because I read up on the second one, and it actually sounds very interesting because that one kind of explores more on the particular monster.
The graboid.
Yeah.
I mean, we could binge it. If you want to have a marathon of Tremors, I am not against it in the slightest.
I am down. I'm down. Even if it gets ridiculous, because
It will.
it does look like it does get ridiculous. And you said something about them going straight to
VHS.
VHS.
Yeah. Well, that happened a lot with horror movies back in, 80s and 90s, because the first one will be super successful.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll want to do a sequel, and it will not come even close. And they will just keep pumping them out. And they kept doing that with Wrong Turn, and it just got progressively worse, but they kept making them. Probably still are. But yeah, so there's 7 of these movies. We're only going to talk about the first one, obviously. But yeah, it just makes me laugh, the whole movie.
The whole movie, yes, the whole movie's funny, but there are times I'm kind of confused. And I think it's more the lingo that they speak.
Yeah, because they're from Nevada. So they got like Southern accents, and they're, doing their Southernisms.
Yeah, so there's times I'm like, what the heck did they just say?
Yeah, if you didn't spend any time in the South, you're not going to understand a word of what they're saying half the time. But there's a huge cast in this movie.
There is a huge cast.
For a town of only like 4 people, it's a huge cast. So you got You got Kevin Bacon. This is early Kevin Bacon. This is like young Bacon. Then you got Fred Ward, uh, Michael Gross, of all people. You got Reba McEntire, Robert Jane, who I'm pretty sure was only famous when he was a kid. I could be completely wrong, but I only know him from like old movies.
Who is this one?
He was the annoying shithead kid that kept like throwing the basketball at
Oh, yeah.
Earl. But yeah, I
What was
only
he in?
oh my god. He was in yeah, like very he was in oh, he was in Tremors 3. A lot of B movies, fucking I don't know. Night of the Demons 2, eh, Iron Eagle. Yeah, a lot of B movies. Nothing that you would remember him from. Uh yeah, Charlotte Stewart, Victor. Oh my god, I want to talk about Victor Wong. I've been dying to talk about Victor Wong.
The Asian man, right?
Yeah, the token Asian man of the 90s.
They did him dirty, this movie.
They do him dirty in most of his movies.
Yeah.
But I wanted to sorry, I know I'm babbling, but I've been so excited to talk about Victor Wong. So he's the shop owner.
Hmm.
He's the token Asian man. It's all white people in this movie for the most part.
Yeah, it's all white people, and he dies.
He dies.
He dies the worst way, I feel like.
He gets eaten
Yeah.
inside the store.
Inside his own store,
Yeah.
which is annoying.
Yeah.
And it was like he sheltered everybody, and he gets eaten. I
I
was
mean,
like, how effed up?
he he shelters them kind of, but he's also trying to make money off of the dead monster by taking pictures for $5 a pop. Like he is a piece of shit, but they all kind of are. But Victor Wong, so he plays the token Asian man in most movies in the 80s and 90s. Like the wise old Asian man.
Hmm.
That's his role. So he was in, Big Trouble, Little China, cult classic, The Golden Child, lots of memorable movies. And then he did a movie in 1992, a year of Josh, uh, that my sister and I grew up on, and it's called Three Ninjas. Now, this movie, it's three little white boys that learn karate from their Asian grandfather, and it is never explained why he's Asian. Not once is it brought up.
I love that.
No one questions it, and there's like 4 of these movies, maybe even more. But yeah, Victor Wong just plays like a ninja grandfather who's training his 3 little white grandchildren.
It can't get any more racist than that.
It can't, but this movie is hilarious, and I will show it to you. You're gonna cringe harder than you ever have.
Is it fun? Is it a comedy?
So to answer that, I have to rant for a second. Back in the 90s, there was a big amount of movies that were not shown in theaters, were not shown on TV. They're just random straight to VHS movies
Hmm.
that you happened across in a grocery store.
Oh, in the $5 bin at Walmart or something.
Not
right?
even Walmart. Like, think back to Acme when they had the random, like, rack of movies in the corner behind the registers that no one went near. That's where you would find these movies.
I don't remember that, but
Yeah, I'm talking
maybe
like
I just never
90s.
was looking.
Exactly. Those movies, they put them out once in 1995 and they stayed there until the store closed like a few years ago. So my mom would get me these movies because she's like, oh, these look fun for children. And then my sister and I would sit down and watch fucking Three Ninjas, and it's like racism. The one guy's a terrorist. The other guy's doing like blackface. Like it's really offensive, but it's marketed for children.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So Victor Wong was in that, and that's where I know him from. I know this is a long-winded few minutes of me babbling, but I'm very excited. But anyway, rant is over. I apologize. Thank you for sticking with me. How did you feel about Tremors?
It was it was good because it was a classic, but like I said before, there was a lot of lingo that I didn't understand. So sometimes I was a little confused.
Mm,
I got the gist of it enough. I thought the storyline was very, very 90s.
yeah,
Like, there's always some type of cheesy love interest. And it was kind of like damsel in distress type of situation. The guy's brave and, they kiss at the end
yeah.
type of thing. So I was like, the
Typical 90s movie.
typical 90s movie, which is not always a bad thing.
No.
I do love how they did the monster, the worm. It's like a sandworm type of monster.
Yeah, big sandworm.
I loved it when they would explode it. It would look like pumpkin guts coming at you.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was too, what they used. But I was actually telling Josh before we got on mic that I really liked how they actually used costumes and props and stuff for that instead of like nowadays everything is like AI
CGI and all that.
and CGI and stuff, and it gets kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And I do like the color schemes more that they do in like 80s and 90s movies and early 2000s movies
Mhm.
than what they do nowadays, because nowadays you get crappy movies like Slender Man that you can't see shit.
S- Yeah, they relied very heavy on the practical effects, and it a lot of movies it doesn't work. This one it worked phenomenally. Like the giant worms looked awesome.
It did. The giant worms looked awesome.
Mhm.
There's some parts that didn't age well, but that's to be expected.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's with
could
any
be
film.
the whole scene where the fucking the soda cooler kicks on and the worm comes up out of the floor.
Hmm.
That was great. But they relied very heavy on the practical effects, like we were saying. And there are some split seconds where you see CGI, but it's rare. I think it's like three separate, like 2 second scenes.
Yeah, but again, it's not as bad
No, it's not as bad
as
as.
what it is now, and that's what I kind of liked about it. That's what makes it a classic, a cult classic.
Mhm. Yeah, if you want to make a good horror movie, a good monster movie, you rely on the practical effects.
Hmm.
Because once you go into CGI and you make the entire monster that, it takes you out of the movie so fast, and the whole thing just becomes a joke.
Yeah, it's just very cheesy.
Yeah, that's
But I actually really liked how the worms looked in
yeah,
this one. They're giant man-eating worms.
yeah. That's why I'm such a big Pan's Labyrinth fan because all the monsters are practical in that.
Oh, I love Pan's Labyrinth.
Such a good movie. But so we've ranted sufficiently enough. I feel like we need to tell people what this movie is actually about. Uh so it takes place in Nevada. Um there are two main characters, two handymen. Kevin Bacon who plays Val and Fred Ward who plays Earl. And they don't have real jobs. They just kind of do like odds and ends around this small town for everybody.
They're considered repairmen.
Yeah. And they're just trying to make a buck any way they can. And they want to leave because they've had enough because it was garbage day. So they're cleaning out all the trash and then they go and the little kid Melvin played by Robert Jane, he's like talking shit and then they're yelling at him and then the pipe breaks and all the shit sprays everywhere. Remember?
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah. And that's like the final straw. They're like, all right, we need to move. Like we need to go where there's actual jobs. So they pack everything from their trailer and they're like, we're fucking out of here. And they, they go say bye to everybody and they're driving away and they come across someone they know, some old guy. I forget who he was to them. He was just some old guy they knew.
Mhm.
And he was sitting up in like like an electrical tower, like the phone tower.
Yeah.
And they were like yelling at him, like, what are you doing up there? You're gonna get hurt. And they like to choose who does things by rock, paper, scissors. So, Val loses, he climbs all the way up there, and they find that the old guy's dead from dehydration and hunger. And they were like, why would he sit up there for fucking 4 days? So they're starting to question everything. And I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah, so I think you were trying to describe, like, what the movie's about, and then you kinda started telling them about the movie,
Sorry.
jumping a little bit. Um, but yeah, I guess we could just get into it. From there, they do stumble across another person that they see, like, the bulls and everything, because they built a fence
Mm,
to keep the bulls and, like, the animals inside, and all their hard work kinda was ruined.
mm,
So they go to talk to the person that they did all this work for, and they don't find him in his house. And then they actually find his head, I think, just his head, pretty much.
yeah, they see his hat laying on the ground and they pick it up and there's his head.
So then they start freaking out and they're like, "Oh my god, there's a murderer in town."
Mm. Oh, and God, we are jumping. I apologize, but yeah, well, I apologize. They meet someone else before all of this. They meet a college student who has to be in her like 40s.
Yeah, I was looking at her like, she's supposed to be a college student? Like, it just brought me back to what was the movie you compared it to?
Oh, Candyman.
There's a lot of movies like that, though, like, they
Yeah.
always I mean, Grease, they use all these
Grease, they're all 63.
like, adults,
Yeah.
re respectful ages, not gonna lie, like, during that time, but, like, definitely not no high school students, so that was probably even worse than this one.
Yeah. No, they meet the college student played by Finn Carter. Her name's Rhonda, and she's there studying seismographs and vibrations in the ground because the charts have been crazy lately, foreshadowing. And that's when Val, you know, he's like, "Oh, whoever she is, I hope she's cute." And he gets there and she's got like sunscreen all over her nose and like giant baggy shorts. And he's like, "Oh," but he ends up falling for her later. So after all that is when they start finding bodies.
Mhm,
So they find the one guy with the farm. His head is off. He's
mhm.
just dead.
They only find his head, and so that's when they get creeped out.
Mm,
They're going into town telling people, "Oh my god, there's a murderer on the loose. We gotta get out of here."
mm. They they warn two repair guys on the street who are like working on the side of the road drilling, and they're like, "There's a murder. You guys got to get out of here." And they drive past them, and he's like, "Oh, he's just messing with us."
To backtrack just a tiny bit, Rhonda, who is a what is that called?
Seismologist.
Seismologist. I've never heard of that before, but
Hmm.
that's just me because I don't do science. Um, she basically was asking, is there anything going on? Because the charts are off the chain, like, and it seems like we're having like a whole bunch of earthquakes or something.
Mhm.
And has anything unusual been going on? There's been lots of vibration and stuff. And then the guys are kind of like, they kind of just dismiss her a little bit.
Yeah,
Even though Earl has been kinda, like, edging Val and being like, "Hey, like, pretty young girl, like," and he's like, no, I'm good," and he's like, "There's not many girls in this town, so
it's true.
I don't think there really was any." There's, like, what, 6 people in this whole movie?
Yeah, that's they
Slim pickings.
slim pickings, yeah. But yeah. So after all that, like we said, they start finding the bodies. They start freaking out. The two construction guys on the side of the road, of course, die. Uh, the one, what did he do? He got
He was drilling, he hit the worm, it started bleeding, blood started pouring out, and I guess the worm, started, taking off from the ground and, you know, cables wrapped around his foot.
oh, that's right.
Very predictable,
Yeah.
very 90s.
And then his buddy died in a stupid way because the one guy got sucked like up the hill and his buddy ran to the bottom of the hill as like an avalanche started and all the rocks came down and like crushed him. It's like you see the rocks falling. Move.
Yeah, like, why are you gonna stand under it?
Stupid.
But sometimes that happens. You don't know what you're gonna be when you're in the moment.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, if you're gonna what is it? Fright? Flu
Oh, fight or flight.
Yeah. Some people freeze.
Yeah,
So he froze.
he did freeze. But back in town, they're trying to tell everybody, what they saw. And they got attacked at one point because they went to go warn Rhonda because she was still out there. So they go out that way and they get attacked by one of the
Did
Sandmen.
they even go to tell her? I think they were just going to leave. They were trying to get the hell out of that town.
Yeah, because then, yeah, they get attacked and they start running. And that's when the sandworm, they jump over that barrier where like the water would run
But
through.
that's when they run into her. They weren't
Yeah,
necessarily looking for her.
yeah,
They were trying to skip town.
yeah. And they jumped the barrier and the sandworm ran right through the concrete and killed itself because it's stupid. And that's when they took the small sandworm tongue back and showed the townspeople, and they were all like, "Oh, we can make money off of this."
Yeah, and then Rhonda is shifting through her little reports, and she looked so unnatural
Yeah,
with every little thing she was doing, like going over the reports and stuff like that and taking them out of her bag.
she
And
she was not convincing.
she was not convincing at all. Like,
Yeah, but my man Victor Wong uh buys the sandworm off of them for $15 because of course they will do anything for a buck, and they're like haggling with him. And then he posts it up in the corner of his little store and with a big sign that says, "Take a picture with the sandworm for like $5." And everybody's like messing around with it. And what happens next? It was because then she goes over the readings and she's like, according to this, there's like three more,
yeah, there's like 4 more.
four more.
Mhm.
And they go, what was it? So they get to Rhonda. Is that when they were stuck on the rocks or no?
Yeah, they were so they tried to go over to her car and then another one starts running after them. So they realized they got on top of some huge rocks to
Mhm.
kind of get away,
That's right. And they don't come up with their fucking escape plan until the very next day. They sat there all night.
which I didn't understand because she came up with the idea on how to get out in like 2 seconds. So I would have been pissed. I would have been like, "You made me wait a whole night staying on this rock to make me assume that there was no way out." And then what also grinded my gears was the fact that there was just those poles
Mhm.
conveniently there for them.
There was no reason. So they pole vaulted their way out, we should say.
Mhm.
They jumped from rock to rock with these giant poles they found. There is no reason for the poles to be there. These are giant boulders in the middle of the desert. There was nothing around there. Those poles had no business being there.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, "This makes no sense at all," but
Yeah.
oh well. Movie in the 90s.
Movie in the 90s. So they pole vault to the truck and they get out of there. And meanwhile, everybody's back in town. And that's when they realize that the sandworm follows the vibrations, right?
Well, at first, they don't believe them because they were like, "Yo, we gotta get out of here."
Hmm.
They hear us, the vibrations, they're underground, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody's like laughing at them. And they don't start believing it until the sandworm comes up and almost grabs. There is a little girl in this movie, Ariana Richards, who plays Mindy. I looked at her. She was the girl in Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So I looked at her and I was like, "Oh my God, is that the little girl from Jumanji?" I feel bad saying that, but I feel like every time I see a little blonde girl with like the French braid, I automatically think it's like the same person. So
That's terrible.
yeah. Well, no, because they all look. I don't know.
Wow.
Because their hairstyle is similar.
Sure.
I I'm really bad at actors and actresses, but the girl from Jumanji is not her.
Hmm.
That one's Kristen Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten
Yeah.
Dunst. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did not know how to. Oh, she's in Bring It On. She's the main girl, isn't she?
Yep. And she's in Spider-Man. She's the annoying one.
She's in a lot of things, actually.
She's in Melancholia. She makes me want to kill myself watching that movie. So they're all in town. They're finally back in town. I know we're jumping around like crazy, but this movie, that's all it is jumping around in the desert.
Yeah, the town is jumping around. Yeah, it was a little hard to follow along sometimes. But I'm thinking that it was just a little hard for me to follow along because I was a little tired and,
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But usually I'm pretty good at like pinpointing.
You're usually wide awake and I'm the one falling asleep.
Yeah. I wasn't falling asleep. I just was like, I have no idea.
It's all good. So at this point, the sandworms trap them inside the store. The majority of them are in the store. The little girl and her, I'm assuming mother, are in their house. And the shithead teenager is in like a shed outside.
You skipped a whole part.
What did I skip?
How the sandworm came up. The little girl was pogo stick jumping.
Hmm.
And they were trying to tell everybody to be quiet because it goes off of vibration and stuff like that. And the kid was bouncing the basketball also.
Hmm.
And it came up for the kid playing basketball and he got up on a pole.
Oh, that's right.
And then that's when they ran outside to go get him and realized he's up a pole. And then they all sprinted back inside the house. While that's going on, the mom of that little girl was like, "Oh my God, where's Mindy?" And goes outside to go looking for her. And then you see little girl pogo stick hopping thing, whatever.
Pogo sticking.
I hate those things.
Yeah, they're annoying.
I could never do it properly. Like was really bad at it. My little cousin was really good at it. And I was always jealous that she could do it. I'm like, how the heck could you do it? And I can't. It's like hula hooping. I'm not great at hula hooping either.
Yeah.
Anyways, to lock back in.
Val runs out to save her.
Yeah, Val runs out to save her because the worm feels her jumping, but she has her, what is that? I want to say cassette player. Is it a cassette player?
Yeah, she has her headphones on.
Yeah, she has her headphones on. so she doesn't hear them being like, "Be quiet, you gotta stop." Like,
which this part also didn't make sense because later on in the movie, they do yell to get its attention and it turns around and comes back. But for some reason, at this part, with them yelling, it still goes for the little girl.
I guess
But
because she was making a
more of a racket.
yeah.
Yeah. Which also, when you see the sandworm's point of view, they do a very Evil Dead style where it's the camera, like the front facing camera going through the ground, and it looks like, you're in the point of view of the worm, which is fun.
I actually like that.
I did too.
I like that aspect of what they did there.
Yeah. So, yeah, he saves the girl, and the girl runs in the house with the mom at that point. He runs back to the.
Yeah, the girl runs in the house with the mom. They run back to the store,
Mhm.
and the kid that was on the pole, he runs into this little shed, and then some other guy in a distance runs on top of a trailer
He's on his trailer.
house or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're really quiet because at this point, Rhonda's like, they hear us like through vibration and stuff. Like they don't have eyes, they can't see,
Mm.
but they hear.
She's like, they're all subterranean, and they all look at her like, we don't fucking know what that
Like, what the
means.
fuck does that mean?
Stop your college talk, bitch.
Yeah. And then she says like this fancy ass word for dirt.
Just say dirt.
And it's like, just say dirt. Like,
She, this is what smart people do when they want to sound smart. They say the long version of things that's so unnecessary. Just say dirt. Everyone will understand you. You sound like an ass.
mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Know your audience.
know your audience. It's not the 4 people that live in this dusty town. I promise you. So they're all trying to be quiet. That's when, like we mentioned before, the soda machine kicks on and they all run to unplug it. And poor Victor Wong, just minding his own business in his shop, sandworm comes up through the floor and fucking swallows him. It drags him around the store a bit. And you just see the top half of him screaming for help.
Yeah, I was like, how disrespectful. And then they were like slowly trying to help him, like trying to pull his arms, but then it was like, dude, what are you doing?
What are you going to do? Pull half of him out? It
Yeah.
don't matter. Can't get him to a hospital. Jesus. So Victor Wong gets it. R.I.P. Now they're all standing on top of like shelves and shit, and they're like, we need to get to the roof.
Yeah.
And there's like a roof hatch that they climb up, and then the sandworm comes and knocks over the shelf that Rhonda's standing on, and she like
Flies out the window.
flies out the window.
And then the rest of the guys get up on the roof and
She climbs a little like water tower.
she climbs a water tower, but like, how the heck did she do that so fast?
That's the other thing. This movie, for a town of laid back old people, they're all very spry. Like they climb very well, like very fast.
I would have died at the pogo stick.
I would have tripped getting in the truck. But yeah, they're all very like fast. I don't know. It was funny to me. So everybody's on the roofs. Shithead teenager is still in the shed because I don't know why you would climb up a pole, be safe up there, and think, hey, maybe I should get on ground level again and go in the shed. I don't know. The logic was not there. So they drop Val down to grab the radio so he could radio for help, and they call Reba McEntire, Heather, and her husband Bert, Michael Gross. And the two of them are just insane, like ready for the apocalypse people.
Doomsday ready, people.
Doomsday preppers. Like they
Mhm.
have a fallout shelter. They have food for years. So they radio them. They're like, hey, they're trying to get their attention. They're like, hey, this shit's happening. Like, you guys need to, get on your roof.
Well, at first they're like, "There's you guys are the only ones that have." No, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to get to higher ground. And they're trying to explain to them like these things are underground. They're not like saying what it is, but like
They're
they're
coming your
underground.
way.
Yeah, they're coming your way. You guys got to be quiet. All the while they're cleaning their ammunition in this big machine that's loud as shit
They're in the basement.
down in the basement. And then they finally hear it on the radio. They're like, they're underground coming your way. And they look out the window like, what? And then right through the wall comes the giant sandworm.
I was so annoyed at this part.
Wait.
Oh my God, because they were like, it's underground, like you're not going to see it. And they keep looking out their window,
Oh,
like,
they look,
but
yeah.
where is it? I don't see it. I don't see anything coming this way. And it's like they're underground, you're not going to see it. And they keep looking.
You wouldn't see it, Michael Gross. It's underground.
But they keep looking outside. Like they were told multiple times, it's underground, it's coming your way, get to higher ground. And they stay and they keep looking out the window. Uh,
They're meant to be the smart ones, too.
yeah, and it was just super annoying. I was like, "Oh my God, get the fuck out of the basement." I wanted to yell at the TV.
But this is my favorite scene in the whole movie, and I'm sure a lot of people share this opinion.
I love it.
So the worm comes out of the graboid. Sorry, Victor Wong named it graboid because it's like, oh, it grabs. Anyway, graboid comes out of the wall. Michael Gross starts shooting at it, runs out of ammo, and you're like, oh no, what's going to happen to Michael Gross? Him and Reba back up against the wall, and the camera pans over to a wall full of firearms, like pistols, rifles, fucking Uzis. Anything you could dream of, they have it on their wall because they're crazy people.
That was so funny. And I said, why didn't Scary Movie make fun of this movie, fun of this part? Because this part would be the best part to make funny.
Yeah. The Wayans brothers they weren't referencing this, but they did a joke similar to it. From Don't Be a Menace. Because the guy pulls a gun on him, or the guy pulls a knife, the guy pulls a gun. The other guy pulls a rifle, and then he opens his truck and he has a missile in it. So they kind of do something similar. But so they just start unloading every gun they have on it, and eventually they kill it. But it's just classic, like you picked the wrong fucking house.
Yeah.
Like big time. So they grab everything they need, they get on their roof and they're talking to the others finally, and they're like trying to come up with a plan. And they're like, we can't drive out of here because they just destroy the fucking cars. And they also, a scene we didn't mention, there was like another couple that were like building their house nearby, like the night before, and the generator gets sucked underground. The old man goes to check on it. He gets sucked underground and eaten. The wife runs and jumps in the station wagon, which then gets sucked underground and eaten. So the cars don't work. So they come up with the plan that there's the bulldozer.
So at first, they didn't realize that the cars don't work. They basically said, do you guys have your vehicle still? Because you're going to have to head out to the mountains and get help.
That's right.
And then they were like, yeah, we still have our car and stuff like that. But then at this point, it goes back to everybody in the shop. And now the worms are taking down the store, like taking down the foundation of like the store and the house and everything. So then this is when they all are like, oh shoot, like we're gonna have to get out of here because we are on borrowed time, pretty much.
Yeah.
So then at this point they said, can you come get us? And they were like, yeah, we can come get you. And then that's when their car gets taken by a worm.
Oh yeah, it sucks it up. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Again, I'm very sorry. I'm jumping around a lot this episode. This movie is kind of scattered, like a lot. So then they come up with the idea, like, hey, what about the bulldozer? And they're like, well, you could only fit like 3 people on that. And they're like, well, if we hook up this giant metal sled thing, which is like half of an old truck, with busted tires. We could just drag it and get to the mountains where it's solid rock and, the worms can't get us. So they're like, okay. So right as they're coming up with this plan, the whole store starts to cave in and Val had to make a run for it. Well, again, rock, paper, scissors, and then
So Earl won, and Earl was going to go and sacrifice himself because basically that's his suicide mission.
mhm,
And Val ended up taking off and doing it anyways.
he elbows him in the chest.
Yes. So he ends up taking off. They come up with a plan to distract the worm because obviously the worms go after vibration. So there's this other guy that's like, okay, like we can turn on the tractor and the tractor will go on its own.
Mhm,
So the tractor begins going on its own, but unfortunately, and Val makes like good distance to where he needs to go. But then the tractor turns on its side and is no longer working. So then the worms redirect and go over to where Val is. But because we had mentioned that the worms don't have eyes, they're kind of like sniffing around for him and not sniffing around for like feeling his vibration, but he stood still.
mhm.
So they're like looking for him and it looks like they're about to get him. And then this is when Rhonda, she's on top of a
It's like a small water tower.
water tower
Mhm.
and then they start all yelling for the worm and being like, "Hey, over here, over here." And the worm is kind of like not really redirecting towards them.
Just kinda staying in one spot.
Yeah, like still kind of checking out around where Val is and it when he's about to get caught, like Rhonda comes up with like a quick idea of just hitting down the water tower pole
Mhm.
and then she's successfully able to get it down and then the water starts um draining out of the pipe so the worm redirects there and then Val's able to continue making a run for it to get the bulldozer.
Hooks up the sled and,
Hmm.
basically is successful, and he goes and he picks everybody up.
Yeah, and then that's when they go and head over to Heather and Bert, but they realize that they have to keep moving because if not the worm starts eating at the bulldozer, so they can't stay still.
They start sinking the ground around it.
Yeah. So then they start making their way over to Heather and Bert.
Mhm.
They're on the roof. They're making like
They're
bombs or
they're
something.
building pipe bombs because they're crazy people.
Yeah. And they know how to do that,
Yeah.
which is convenient.
Yeah, as Bert says, it's just, household appliances and items around the house.
Bert was being dumb though because he was using a lot of ammo shooting the dirt. And then he's like, it's not working. But then it was just like, okay, then why continue using the bullets?
That's what Reba said. She's like,
Yeah.
you know it's not working. Why are you doing it?
Why are you doing that? Like you're wasting the bullets.
Ugh. Reba's just the best part of this movie. I'm sorry.
She really is. She really is. She's the only one with um
She's the only smart one.
well, the window scene, she was not smart. But other than that, like she was more logical, I guess I would say.
Yes. Yeah.
Because Bert was just kind of like headstrong
Bert was a
with
crazy person.
everything.
Yeah. So they pick them up and they're like, all right, we're gonna drive to the mountains. Like, all right, we're good. And the worms got smart and they set a trap and they cleared out underground the trail they were going, and then the bulldozer sunk into the ground and like flipped over. So they got stuck. And they had to come up with a plan like, all right, we can't stay here because they're just going to keep sinking us. So, like, we have to get to that giant pile of rocks. And is that when they threw the pipe bomb to like get its attention?
Yeah, they threw the pipe bomb to get its attention, wait for it to explode. and then they all took off running
Mm.
to one of the big, huge rocks, I
Mm.
guess,
Yeah,
because they cannot go above ground.
yeah, and of course, Robert Jane, the little shithead teenager, was like, "Give me a gun." And finally, Michael Gross is like, "All right, here, take a gun." And they're running to the boulders, and the kid's trying to shoot it, and he realizes the gun's empty. And he's like, "You asshole!" That was the funniest shit. He's like, "Look, I gave you a gun. I'm not stupid, though. I knew you would shoot one of us by mistake." So they get to the boulders, and they decide. Well, they sit there for a while.
They sit there for a while. They're like unsure of what to do. Um, and then they're like, shoot, we're stuck. Bert gets very angry at this point because Bert is like, you could have just left us at the house. Like, you should have just left us there because we had food, we had everything, we were set. And Val kind of went off on them because he was like, no, like, you wouldn't have been set. Like, it would have taken down your whole house.
Yeah, you would have been fucked.
Like, you would have been fucked regardless. And he's like, well, now I'm going to die out here.
Yeah, Bert was kind of a shit.
He was a shit.
Yeah. So they then come up with the idea that they're going to go fishing. That's what they called it.
Mm-hmm.
So they tied a long rope to one of these pipe bombs and they started throwing rocks like out in the distance and waited for one of the worms to come up. And as soon as it did, they lit it up and threw it
Mm-hmm.
and waited for it to get sucked down. And then that's when the worm exploded. And
Yeah.
you see like pumpkin guts everywhere.
So they got two of them that way. And then the last remaining one was like the really smart one.
The really smart one.
Yeah. So he wasn't falling for it anymore
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah. And then where were they running to? Because Val was out on his own. Like he gets off of the rock.
Well, because that time
Oh,
remember
yeah.
the worm throws, so the worm throws the bomb back at them.
Yeah, because they threw it for the last worm and it got smart and launched it back at them.
Yeah, so it blew up their rock.
Because it landed in the bag of all the other pipe bombs.
So a lot of the other people were able to get really quickly on another rock, but Val, Rhonda, and Earl were unable to. So they were going to make a run for it, but they knew they were going to get stuck. And Val had the last bomb in his hand. And everybody was yelling at him, like, what are you waiting for? Use it. And Val was like, no, you don't understand. This one is smarter. This one is not like the others.
Yeah, and that's when he got his bright idea.
Yeah, that's when he devised his bright idea. He ended up starting to run, and Rhonda and Earl started running with him. And they were like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? Like, let's light the bomb. And he's like, no, not yet. They run all the way to the end of the cliff.
Giant cliff, yeah.
This giant cliff. Then he has Rhonda light it. Earl and Rhonda jump out of the way. The worm, like, jumps out to grab him. He waits last second, throws the bomb at him, jumps out of the way. Worm, he misses the worm. And the worm comes, because it's coming up to get him, last second he moves out of the way and the worm flies over the cliff and hits straight down to the ground. Splatters everywhere. Loved it.
It was great.
It was great. And I loved looking at that worm, like, all exploded and everything. It was very satisfying.
Yeah. And then, of course, it quick cuts to, like, days later, and they're, like, getting ready to leave town, finally. And Earl's basically, like, nudging Val, like, you need to, like, now or never.
Like,
ask this.
Shoot your shot, bud.
Yeah. Which he does very awkwardly. And
at first he doesn't. At first he's like, oh, bye. Like, will I see you again? Kind of thing. And she's like, yeah. Like, and he lets her walk off. and then he goes after her.
Yeah, and in a kiss that had 0 chemistry,
Yeah,
the
he just, like,
credits roll.
stared at her too, and she's like, "Yes?" And then yeah,
And it was painful.
it was very cringy to
Yeah.
watch. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then the credits roll, and you're like, "Alright, that's Tremors."
Alrighty, and that's the end.
It's a weird ending.
Yeah, but I did read about the second one a little bit before we got on here to record, and it said something about you find the origin a little more about the worm, which is nice to know because I know they kind of had their little theories. Like Earl thought it was an alien,
Yeah,
Rhonda thought it's been there for billions of years, but then the guys did bring up a good point. Like, if it's been there for billions of years, then why is it just starting to come up now?
yeah.
Type of thing. And Val said maybe it's the Russians.
Mhm.
They planted something like, the government.
Yeah. Now I gotta watch the second one because I wanna know the origin.
Now I want to know the origin also.
Yeah.
But if you were to choose out of one of those three, what would you think it would be and
Mm,
why? Or do you think it's something completely different?
I don't know.
I,
It's hard to say.
I think I would lean more towards Rhonda's theory of I think that this worm has been there probably for a very long time, but maybe it was dormant.
Mhm,
And because it's like a really small town, so there's not that many people.
mm.
So I think that they were just dormant, but maybe because they were starting to do some construction and shit around that
It woke him up.
it woke them up. And since they move, and it'd be nice to know their motive too. I don't know if that explores that, but yeah,
I like them not having a motive. I like them just being mindless, hungry, you know, giant worms.
yeah, like
But
the one in Beetlejuice.
yeah, there's no reason for it. It just is.
It just is. Yep.
Yeah.
But this movie is, like I said, a cult classic. It got an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Rightfully so.
What would you rate it?
I don't know. Out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 7.5 or an 8,
Okay, that's nice. I would give it a 6.
6. Yeah.
Yeah. A 6, maybe a 6.5. Probably gonna get a lot of hates for that, but it just there's certain aspects of it that I liked, and then there was others that just fell short for me. And I think there's way, way, way better cult classics
Yeah.
than this one. So it kind of makes sense that I've never heard of it.
Mhm. That's fair.
And I was a little shocked to discover that it was a cult classic, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people love Tremors.
no hate to anybody who loves this movie. I still thought it was solid, but I just feel like certain things didn't age well. I didn't care for Rhonda. I feel really bad saying that, but
She was annoying.
I didn't care for her character. She was not believable
No.
at all as a college student, but then also just not even just that, because I knew that they used to do that all the time. They used to cast like really old people to play really young people,
Yeah.
which is whatever. Like somehow it worked back then. Doesn't
Which,
work now.
to be fair, a college student could be someone of any age. But when you watch a movie, that's not the mindset you're in. You automatically think a younger person.
You automatically think like an early 20s gal, the
Yeah.
latest.
You're not thinking Chevy Chase and Community. You're thinking like a younger person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Her character irked me. She wasn't believable in anything she did. Her and Val had 0 chemistry.
Zero chemistry too. So that like, and I enjoyed Val very much.
Val was great.
Yeah. And he did a good part on his side, but I felt like the romance was just
Not there.
kind of like thrown in there randomly. Like it would have done without
Yeah.
for me, kind of.
I don't know why people think that
every movie needs romance.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Like,
And this is coming from a girly who loves and thrives with romance movies.
yeah.
But I just felt like Tremors was the type of movie that didn't need it.
Yeah. Not every movie needs it.
Or if they did romance, I would have probably preferred it be the married couple of Heather and Bert. I would have preferred that something there instead
Yeah.
if they were going to smuggle it in.
Yeah. I don't know. It felt shoehorned in,
Yeah,
but
it fell short.
I fell short. But that was my pick of the week. I picked I landed on Monsters. I picked that.
It was fun though. It
It
was
was
really
fun.
fun to do. I love horror comedy.
Yeah. I decided not to go super dark this week because there will be weeks when I do.
Yes, thank God, because I feel like uh, it was still good. Like, honestly, you were showing me a whole bunch of trailers
Hmm.
to a whole bunch of monster films. And I think Josh was kind of looking to see which one I would be like, oh, let's watch that one. Oh, I really like that one. But they all genuinely had good trailers, except for one. The only one that didn't have a good trailer, but I do remember you showing me a way better trailer in the past, was that Troll one.
Oh, Troll Hunter.
Yeah, Troll Hunter. The trailer of that sucked because they didn't really explain anything at all, and it was like 30
Yeah.
seconds. I just think, but I do remember seeing a longer one.
Hmm.
I just think that that one was the one that popped up this time around.
I will show you that movie one day because it is a very good movie, but
Yeah, you have brought it up a couple times. I thought that you were going to pick Psycho Gorman to be like
oh,
extremely funny and just be like, yeah, we're going to do.
if I was going to go that ridiculous, then it would have been between Psycho Gorman and Frankie Frico, and I wouldn't make you sit through that because I know you hate puppets. So I was very nice this week, and I picked something fun that you could enjoy.
I love how you chuckled when I said Psycho Gorman.
Because it's, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's, you know what? I'm going to recommend it. If you're listening, watch Psycho Gorman. It's on Prime. And, you know, thank me
See,
later.
I like it. I thought it was funny, but I thought it was because I thought the concept was a little different. Like this guy coming down to like take over the planet and everything, and he has all these evil intentions, and then he just gets bullied by these children.
Yeah. By this annoying, cringy little girl.
Yeah.
Because there's a crystal that controls him, and she gets a hold of it, and she's like, well, you're mine now. And she, like, dresses him up like a cowboy. Meanwhile, he's this giant, brutal monster.
Yeah. So I thought it was a very, very funny concept,
I should have picked that.
but I also think like it is it is a very stupid funny film. Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
is not up everybody's alley.
No, the movie itself was dumb as shit.
Yeah, it was really, really dumb, and it's not for everybody.
No.
Like I know there's certain people that just don't like when it's really, really corny horror, and it was very corny.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it because we
I'm
just like shit like that.
I am shocked you enjoyed that one.
You told me you're not gonna like this one.
Yeah.
Because sometimes um he says I'm not gonna like a certain movie, and then sometimes we watch it, and I'm like, no, it's not that bad. Maybe old Jess would have not liked that movie,
Mhm.
but I feel like you've conditioned me and broke me.
That's a horrible way to put it. You've conditioned me
Yeah,
like I'm some
that
kidnapper.
I actually now like enjoy certain ones of these movies that like old me probably wouldn't have enjoyed them because old me, my only take on horror movies was more mainstream. And then whatever would come up on the TV once in blue, like I would watch it.
Yeah. In that case, maybe I will show you Frankie Frico because it's from the same people that made Psycho Gorman.
No, but I don't like puppets.
I know, but I think you can get through
I
it.
don't like puppets.
You're gonna be okay.
Oh my God. That's what he said last time. I always tell Josh, I was like, my fear is puppets. I don't like puppets. and I don't even like Muppets.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
go to Disney World and anything Muppets, she's like, we have to walk the other way.
Yeah, because I'm like, ew, like I don't like the way they look or anything. And the blue one killed my family when I was little.
All right.
Yeah, in a dream.
Oh,
So yeah,
should probably
that turned me off from puppets.
the blue one killed my
And then
family.
I'm not the biggest fan of clowns either. I'm not like afraid that I need to like walk the other way, but I'm not like the biggest fan of them either
I don't know what it is. Clowns never scared me. I don't.
to an extent.
It never got me like that because a lot of people have that fear. Like I can't do clowns. I will never be able to do
It
it.
happened because of a birthday party I went to that the clown chased after me,
Yeah.
and I ran into somebody's car to get away from it, and the clown started banging on the window
The fuck
for
kind of
me.
birthday party is this?
Dude, I was like maybe 6 years old when this happened. And, as a child around that age, when you first see a clown, you're kind of skeptical. You're like, oh, I don't know. And then it started coming near me,
Mhm.
and I was just like, nope. And I did what any child would do at that age. I started running away. He started chasing me. I don't know why you thought it was funny to chase me. And I got in the car, and then the adults were laughing at me,
Of
and
course.
I was traumatized. I was like trying to crawl under the seat
Mhm.
to get away. I'm crying. I'm hysterical. I'm shaking. Um, and he's banging on the window. And then at the end, he puts his business card on the window.
You sure this wasn't like a dream?
No, no,
Fuck.
I would know if this was a dream.
So now you're on a podcast and he's probably in jail somewhere. Good
Maybe.
God.
I'm thinking, because why would the adults find it funny? I'm thinking that maybe it was like somebody they knew,
I'm sure it was.
right? Because even my mom was laughing. I'm like,
It's probably, I won't say who, but it was probably your uncle.
no, 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 no. It wasn't like my family's birthday
Oh,
party. It
okay.
was like a friend of hers, or like a cousin's
Okay.
friend, a friend of a friend, or something like that,
Yeah, it had to
of
be
my
someone they
mom's.
knew.
So it wasn't even my family, but
Mhm.
now thinking of it, I'm like, it must have been some type of adult that they knew. But I know if I were a parent, I'd be like, that's not cool. Don't do that to my kid.
Be like, hey, dickhead, maybe don't
Yeah.
chase the child into a car.
But you know what? I take that back, because sometimes I see those reels of
French.
the Grinch,
Yep.
like, and I'm like, oh yeah, like somebody should dress up as the Grinch and like pretend to steal all the gifts from the kids one day.
Yeah,
And then I'm like, that's kind of traumatizing.
a little bit.
So I guess it would be kind of like the same. And I think it's hilarious.
Exact. See,
So I guess it's the same thing. So I think I'm being a hypocrite right now. Sorry, Mama.
100%.
Love you.
But yeah, I'm sure you've mentioned this on an earlier episode. So you don't like clowns and you don't like puppets. And then I showed you Dead Silence, which had both.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I was like, my story had a reasoning. Full circle moment right there. Yes. You showed me that. Knowing that I did not like puppets. I really don't like puppets. He's like, oh, you'll really like this movie.
And
It's a good movie.
what you didn't
I
like?
did not like that movie.
You said, oh, it wasn't
I
so
did
bad.
not like that movie. I did not say that it was not bad. Everybody dies at the end, and I was so upset.
Spoiler alert.
I was so upset. Good, I spoiled it because we're not reviewing that one.
Sorry, she's having a Vietnam flashback.
Yes,
Continue.
and then he's acting like I actually didn't mind this movie. And guys, I'm telling you right now, that is a lie. I did not like that movie.
All right. For those of you who don't know what the fuck we're talking about, the guy who made Saw, James Wan, wanted to make a ghost movie, so he made Dead Silence, which is about a creepy ventriloquist dummy.
And that's the worst type of puppet there is.
It's fair. Because they got like human-like features and the eyes move, and I get you.
Yes.
And there's a ghost ventriloquist that puppeteers it, and it's very creepy, and I really enjoyed it. and I made Jess watch it.
He's like, "Oh, you'll like this movie. Oh, it's really good."
It is.
After I told you I don't like puppets, and he's like, "I have a really good puppet movie."
Yeah.
But you didn't tell me it was a puppet movie until we started watching it.
That's not true.
I don't think you
I
told me.
absolutely told you.
No, you
The
didn't.
fuck would what would I have told you? Well, we're gonna watch this great lighthearted romp, and then puppets came. No,
No, you just said, "This is a really good movie. It's called Dead Silence," and
and
then
it
you put
has
it on.
puppets. I did tell you. I
I
1000%.
don't think you told me because I
I'm a
would have been
piece
like,
of shit.
"No, I don't like
Listen,
puppets."
listen, listen. I'm a piece of shit at heart. I really am.
Uh-huh.
I can admit to that. I would never be that big of a monster to trick you into watching it. Never.
Oh, no, no, no. I don't think you tricked me. I just think that you didn't omit it because you said something along the lines of, "This is a really good movie."
Mm.
And I remember before I was like telling you, "Oh, like, can you show me a whole bunch of different horror movies that are really good?"
Mm.
Um, and I had mentioned that I didn't like puppets and talking about fears. Later on, one of the weeks that we were watching horror movies, because at one point we were watching a different horror movie that I never watched weekly,
Mm.
almost. We would try to watch one here and there
Mhm.
to expand my horizons.
Yeah.
And you chose that movie. You were like, "It's a really good movie." And you put it on. And then at the end, I was traumatized a little bit because I was just like, "Everybody dies and it's puppets."
It's puppets. Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god.
and I was really upset. And I think it's funny that you're sitting here saying, "Oh, I said it wasn't so bad." And I'm like, "No, I never said that."
Look, I I know movies, okay? I really do. And when it comes to creepy puppet movies, that's not even scratching the surface. If I wanted to scar you for life, I would show you Meet the Feebles, and you would never talk to me again. So I was very tame with my pick. I apologize if it scarred you. Uh, I enjoyed it,
Of
but
course you enjoyed it.
yeah, I love that movie. But yeah, so you don't do puppets or clowns.
Yeah. Clowns I could do a little more.
You could do clowns.
I don't mind clowns. The only thing is, am I gonna go seek out a clown? No. Like, I'm not gonna go like, "Oh, buddy, buddy, best friends with a freaking clown," or anything like that.
Mhm.
But I don't mind, like, they don't bother me, like, if I go to the circus or something and watch them do some funny jokes from a distance and stuff.
That's true.
Like, they don't scare me like that. Like,
Yeah,
so I wouldn't necessarily say I'm scared of clowns.
you're just not a fan.
I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, because when we
Yeah.
do a lot of Halloween shit and like
Yeah.
haunted houses and stuff like that, and there's always clowns because
And that doesn't bother me.
you don't jump.
No, I don't jump. I like that stuff.
Yeah,
But, you know, am I um skeptical a little bit? Yeah, of course, because I feel like it's more the person behind the mask a little bit.
yeah.
Because I feel like those types of people can be a little um
Fucked in the head. You could say it.
I wasn't gonna go there. I was gonna go more predator sometimes.
I don't know how that's any
I,
better, but
yeah,
okay.
I know.
Essentially the same thing.
Essentially, yeah, but I was like worse,
Mm.
kind of worse. Yeah, because I do feel like I don't know, man. I just feel like clowns, like they have no business like presenting for kids. I feel like it's a little, I don't know.
It's a very early 1900s thing to still be around.
I guess, right? And like, who sets out and says, "Oh, I'm gonna go and be a clown"?
People go to clown college. Like, it's a thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's a thing, and it just kind of creeps me out, and it kind of makes me question the
Intentions of the person.
the intentions of the person. Yes, I guess that's a nicer way of putting it
Yeah.
than what I was about to say. But yeah, let's go with that.
Mhm. That's fair.
Like, do I actually want these people around my kids?
No,
Type of
absolutely not.
thing. Like, probably not.
Yeah, we'll never have a clown. Just saying. Um, but yeah. So it is your turn to spin the wheel.
It is my turn to spin the wheel. Um,
What are you hoping for?
okay, I really want teen horror, but every time so before we started, I was playing around with the wheel a little bit because we are trying to show Telly, our cat, to spin the wheel a little bit, and she gets interested when we are spinning it. And I'm just like, okay, like what would it land on if I spin it from here? And the funny thing is, when I spun the wheel, it landed straight on cannibalism again.
Hmm.
And I was like, I'm not doing cannibalism again. And then after that, I spun it again and it landed on monster. And I'm like, what are the odds? Why can't it land on something I want? So I guess I would love for it to land on teen horror.
Okay.
Comedy, I love comedy.
Mhm.
2020s and Up, Guess the Killer, they're all great ones.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say what I don't want it to land on because then
We all know.
I feel like I manifest that,
Yeah.
but at least not cannibalism again. Alrighty,
Let's
ready?
do it. Yep. Good spin.
No, I was almost there. Okay, I landed on Guess the Killer?
Yep.
Guess the Killer.
All right.
Okay, I can do something with it. I can make that work.
You can work with that. Yeah.
I can make that work for me.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a lot of Guess the Killer movies, though.
So many.
There's so many. Ooh. I'm gonna have a week thinking about this. That's great.
Yeah.
All right.
So you got a good one.
I got a good one. I got a solid
It
one.
didn't land on
And
psychological.
it didn't. You knew I didn't want that one.
I know for a fact.
Yeah, because, like, what would I do? Get out?
I've seen it so many times.
But, like, personally, what would I do, though, if I got psychological?
Yeah.
I guess that would be something I would have to just think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go. It's psychological already.
Yeah. So Guess the Killer, even though Guess the Killer can kind of be psychological sometimes too.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Alrighty.
that is it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us back here next week when we talk about Jess's pick for a Guess the Killer type movie.
Guess the Killer type movie.
And
thank you for being patient with us. I feel like weekly there's certain people keep pestering me for where's the next episode. And so I just want to let you guys know we do record on Wednesday nights.
mm-hmm.
And we try to have a video up for you either that same Wednesday night or Thursday, sometimes Friday. Friday will probably be our deadline.
Yeah.
If anything.
I blame myself mainly for my schedule because of the other podcast. We attempt to do twice a week. So usually my schedule would be like Monday, Conspiracy Kitchen. Tuesday, we watch our movie. Wednesday, we do our show.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, I do my notes for Friday night's Conspiracy Kitchen episode. And then we try to do that.
Yeah, so Josh is a little bit busier than I am. We ended up canceling yesterday, like not yesterday, Tuesday, the watching of the movie because Josh just got home super late. So it was just like, can we postpone it to the next day? Which is all right. I went ahead and played Sims instead.
Yeah. Yeah, you played Sims and I yelled at my Australian coworker for 6 hours.
Yes, and then he got in trouble today.
He did
really bad.
He did get in trouble.
Like his ass was grass today.
It was fun.
Yep.
But hold on. I got a horse in front of me. Move, Millie. Our cat is giant. She's like 18 pounds. But anyway, thank you guys so much. This show has been a lot of fun for me because, I do the other podcast, but this is like a nice break in the middle of my week to hang out with my wife, watch a movie.
Yeah,
So, you know,
it is. It's really fun, and thank you for doing this with me too because it's been a lot of fun.
yeah. And I'm still jealous that your microphone is better than mine, but that's neither here nor
It's
there.
because it's pink.
It is pink. It changes colors too. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next week. Good night.
Bye, guys.